Ricardo Menéndez March.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Minister for Social Development and Employment. Does she agree with the Prime Minister's recent statement that the average adult now is on the benefit for 13 years on average, and the under-25s are on the benefit for an average of 24 years?
Honourable Louise Upson.
Mr. Speaker, yes, in its full context. The Prime Minister was referring to independent evidence produced by Taylor Fry in 2022, which reported that someone on the job seeker benefit is expected to spend 13 years on benefit throughout their lifetime. The same evidence shows someone on a youth benefit is expected to spend 24 years on benefits throughout their lifetime.
Is she aware that the Taylor Fry report she just quoted actually says that only 0.5% of people on the benefit are expected to spend 24 years on a benefit throughout their lifetime?
Mr. Speaker, anyone that spends up to 24 years of their future lifetime on welfare is a major issue for this government, and that's why we are focused on fixing it.
Why then has the Prime Minister and the Minister continued to say that under 25s are on the benefit for an average of 24 years?
Mr. Speaker, because that's what the Taylor Fry report has said. For someone who goes on to youth payment or youth parent payment, unfortunately, the future lifetime expected that they will spend on welfare is up to 24 years. That is a disaster from anyone's book, and why we are focused with a social investment approach, focused on where the group have the highest risk of poorer life outcomes and interrupting it. We are not interested in allowing young people in this country, whether it's a small number or a large number, spending that amount of time stuck.
Is she aware that for that tiny 0.25% proportion of people, the modelling is taking into account 7 additional risk factors, including acute unplanned care from a public hospital, interaction with oranga tamariki, and exclusion from school? And if so, why didn't she create a target to reduce these risk factors as opposed to just getting 50,000 people off the benefit?
Mr. Speaker, the Taylor Fry modelling is based on really careful analysis of the IDI data, which is why it is so rich. It looks at people's past outcomes with the intention of trying to disrupt that from happening in the future. Whether it's one person, whether it's 100, whether it's 100,000, every one of those people count to me, and I'm unwilling to sit by and let them get stuck.
Is she confident in the accuracy of her and the Prime Minister's comments that the average young person is spending 24 years on a benefit?
Mr. Speaker, as I said in my primary answer, the context in which that was given was a discussion about long-term welfare dependency, the horrendous change that we have seen under the last 6 years, with a significant increase in young people going on to welfare and staying on it. And the Taylor Fry report was one piece of the evidence that shows why we must prioritise this group.
Will she commit, going forward, to be clear that only 0.5% of people are projected to spend 24 years on the benefit as per the Taylor Fry report?
Mr. Speaker, what I will commit to this House is every single person, we will do our best to get them off welfare into work, because that's what improves their life outcomes. Whether it's 1 year or 24 years, it's not good enough.
Exposed, massive New Zealand Green Party hypocrisy. This exposure of the New Zealand Green Party hypocrisy may not seem obvious on the surface at first glance, but it is highly significant. It exposes the truth about the Green Party. They play with numbers to suit their argument, which destroys immediately their ideology of actually caring about the planet. The truth is, the New Zealand Green Party care only about votes and themselves. They love their big-time salaries and financial perks, and that's all they actually care about. Green hypocrisy exposed. In the video clip, Ricardo Menéndez March, with Chlöe Swarbrick nodding furiously in full agreement, clearly states that the New Zealand Green Party consider the proportion of people who will spend up to 24 years on welfare benefits as tiny, at only 0.25% of people. This same Mad Hatter crazy Green Party consider that New Zealand's global climate change contribution of greenhouse emissions, which is less than 0.02%, Actually, it's closer to 0.01%. So let's take an average of 0.015%, is a climate change crisis. On a relative scale, New Zealand climate emissions contribution of 0.015% is nearly 20 times less than long-term welfare beneficiaries of 0.25%. Or, put another way, the very long-term New Zealand welfare beneficiary problem of 0.25% is nearly 20 times worse than the so-called New Zealand climate change crisis that the Mad Hatter crazy New Zealand Green Party continually try to ram down our throats. The New Zealand Green Party are nothing but political scam artists. Thank you for listening. Geraint, on behalf of Funnerate him.